I would say that I am worrying when I see the inflation picking up in all advanced economies, in the US, in Europe, and all the other, but Japan, which is a case in point. The problem we have is that it is really necessary to retake control of the inflation expectations in all advanced economy and, of course, in Europe. In Europe, if I concentrate, because it is the question, of course, what about the euro area? In Europe, we have core inflation, which is now quite high, 4.4% in the last reading I had. Of course, lower than in the US, where they stand at 6%, with second round effects probably being really there because the wages and salaries are picking up also at the pace of 6%. So they have a problem which is grave. They said themselves that they had missed the understanding of the dynamics of inflation. The Europeans are in a less dramatic stance, but still, of course, they have themselves to regain control, and the ECB has to regain. And I would say all European, because it's not only the problem of the central bank. I mean, inflation is a problem which is also the problem of government, parliaments, and social partners, entrepreneurs and unions. So we will certainly, in my opinion, I'm confident of that, regain control of inflation in Europe progressively, and be sure that inflation expectations in a medium term are around 2%, which is the joint definition of price stability, the joint goal of all advanced economies. At the moment I'm speaking, it is the goal of the US, the goal of Japan, the goal of the UK, the goal of the ECB and of the European. If we miss the fight against the destabilization, the unanchoring of inflation expectations, then we could be indeed in the 70s. And that would be extremely grave. And then you know what happens. The central bank has to regain control. Paul Volcker had to augment rates in proportion that are unthinkable. And there was a recession, a very big recession, which was engineered by the fact that we had lost control of inflation. So I don't make that working assumption. It seems to me that on both sides of the Atlantic, we are sufficiently responsible to avoid being trapped in a 70s-like difficulty. The pre-announcement of what the central bank will do with precise indications of limits is dangerous, in my opinion, because of course the central bank, on both sides of the Atlantic, has to do what is necessary under the circumstances, and the circumstances are changing. You are not in the same universe if you have a catastrophic unfolding of the war in Ukraine, and maybe the spilling over of this war in other places in Europe. That would be totally dramatic, and it's possible. I don't say it's for sure, but it's possible. And we have also, of course, the other scenario, which would be a very good one, with a ceasefire extremely rapidly, and an appeasement, a general appeasement of the situation. So I think that the central banks are right to have in mind that what counts is their goal. The goal is regaining control of inflation expectations over the medium term, reinforce their credibility vis-à-vis all economic agents, including, as I already said, social partners, because social partners and their negotiation are the key point. If they are considering that they have to negotiate as if present inflation was a permanent inflation, we are lost. Then we have the spiraling of wages and inflation. If they understand that the central bank is serious when it says that they will stabilize inflation around 2% in the medium term, then we are in a different universe. So what counts very much is the credibility of the central bank, credibility also of all the other partners, because again, I don't think we could consider in such extraordinary time with a dramatic unfolding of geostrategic threats and the materialization of these risks, we should not consider that the central bank are the only game in town. They do all what they can, but they are not the only game.